Another question in the chat, same person, is how do we talk to women in person? Men, we are overthinking when it comes to approaching women. I'll tell you, like, the dumbest thing you can do to be able to approach women in almost any environment, all right? You look for them to be an expert on something. Like, you're going to go up to them and inquire about something that you don't know about that's in the environment. For example, let's say you're at work, right? Just randomly, you can go up to somebody and say, hey, just a real question. I'm trying to figure out where the cafeteria is. Like, do you know where the cafeteria is? Or, hey, I'm trying to find like where the bathroom is. I'm kind of fuzzy as to like where it's at. Or, hey, go to them and say, hey, so I heard like there was some kind of Christmas party going on. Like, do you know what that's about? It's the dumbest thing. It's like, I call that a transitional question. It's a question whereby you're asking it in a way where it's almost as if you feel like it makes the other person feel as if they already know you. Because why would you ask a question to somebody that you don't know? So subconsciously, it makes the woman think, I must know this person. And you're not going to them where you're asking them out on a date. You're not asking them for their phone number. You're asking them about to help you figure out some random crap that's going on in the environment. So even with school, you go to school, you can say, hey, this is where I'm trying to look for Mr. So-and-so's office. Or, hey, I'm trying to figure out like where the cafeteria spot is on campus. I'm trying to figure out, where homeroom is. I'm trying to figure out, if you're in college, I'm trying to figure out where this certain dorm is. Can you help me figure out where that is? Now, at that point, what's going to happen is the woman in question is going to, because most women are nice. If you approach them that way, it's respectful. But they'll say, oh, I know where it is. Or, yeah, this thing's happening on this day and blah, 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 blah. At the point where there's a little banter going on, like you ask the question, she's responded to it. And then from her response, you can start to read if A, this person's like kind of closed off and doesn't want to be bothered, or if they're actually open to more conversation. Because I think a lot of guys just assume if they go up to a girl and start talking, she's going to want to hear all about what he has to say or be in a conversation. And that's not always the case. So we use the example of like the cafeteria, right? So you go up to a woman and say, hey, I'm just a random question. I'm trying to figure out where the cafeteria actually is. So if she responds like, oh, it's on the second floor. Very short, curt, not a lot of words. She's not trying to talk. You can say, okay, thanks, appreciate it. Be about your merry way. If you go up to her and say, hey, I'm looking to figure out where the cafeteria is. Can you help me out? And her response is, oh, hey, how you doing? No, cafeteria. Geez, you know what? I think it's actually down the hallway this way. And then you take a right here. And then it's probably going to be out over there. And you know what? I'm trying to see like what they have for lunch today. Because I mean, I'm curious because, yesterday they had ham and today they have hamburger, yada, yada. If she's going on and on, that is an indicator to you, oh, she's actually cool having some kind of rapport with me, interaction, at which point you can say, okay, great. Hey, you know what? I'm going to the cafeteria. I'm sorry, what's your name? Boom. You go into her name. She gives you the name. I'm going to name so-and-so. Hey, nice to meet you. Shake your hand, blah, blah, blah. Well, thanks for telling me the cafeteria is. Hey, just random curious, like, are you hungry? Are you about to go to the cafeteria too? You want to roll with me? Or you can say, hey, no problem. Hey, you know what? Like, this is weird, but like, you seem really, really nice. Like, can I possibly get your number? That's it. And here's the thing too. It doesn't, because the thing is, when you approach women, your goal isn't to try to do every single thing at once there. Hey, I think you're pretty. I think you're wonderful. I want to take you out on a date. Let me get your number, yada, yada, yada. You can keep it very simple. I had, there's a guy I interviewed on my previous podcast a couple of years ago, and he said he met his now wife. I'm in LA. He was walking near what was called Staples Center back then. He was walking around and he saw this beautiful woman. And he literally walked up to her and said, hey, excuse me, ma'am. Like, I don't want to ruin your day or anything like that. I just want to say, I think you're the most beautiful woman that is out here. And I would absolutely love it if I could get your phone number. 15 seconds. And because if you do that, most women, she was a little taken aback, like, oh, snap. Just approached in broad daylight. And then she was like, yeah, okay, sure. Gave him the number. And he said, thanks so much. And I'll be in touch with you. But like, thank you so much and have a great day. Walked off. Called her later, date, yada, yada, yada. Now they're married. So again, sometimes as men, we're just so stuck in our head, but we do not actually have to say all that much, because understand there's going to be a level of this about like your charisma, but also like how does she think you are in terms of your attractiveness? And it's not about your looks. If you're bold enough to approach a woman without like having your shoulders slumped and be like, well, okay, so I mean, I think you're really pretty. It really is about how you're approaching, the confidence and boldness with which you're approaching. And those things tend to be very attractive to women, to where you can just bypass all their programming and to be like, oh crap, this guy like approached me like a boss. Like, yeah, I'll give him my number. Why not? So those are just some tips that I've learned over the years on how you can approach women in a way that's not going to offend, but also look like you're doing it in a manly way and bypasses some of the barriers they may have up and walls they have with other guys, you know?
Thanks for listening to the Introvert Dating Success Podcast. Visit us at introvertdatingsuccess.com for more great tips on attracting women using your natural introvert charm. Oh, yeah.